Well, hello guys, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to TRS. Today, as you can see, I have a Kenwood TS-940S on the bench, and there's a couple of things wrong with this radio, but we're going to go in and do some upgrades to this, and then on Patreon I'm going to do another video on fixing a problem with it. But some of the things we want to do is we're going to upgrade the meter lights, upgrade the battery, and that's behind the LCD and down on the main board. But in this video we're going to be upgrading the power supply, and we're going to install the one from CompuDigital Industries, and we're probably going to do it a little bit different than what you see on K6IOK.com website. So we're going to get this old power supply out. These old power supplies cause a lot of heat, and which causes problems in these rigs. Now we're not going to destroy the power supply that's in it, and the radio does work well with this particular supply in there, but the owner wants it upgraded. So we'll be removing that intact and not clipping all the wires out, and set it aside to use in another radio or project down the line. So let's take a look at what comes in this kit. We have the instruction manual. It's kind of detailed, goes through what has to be done. You guys are going to have to bear with me today. I cut grass yesterday and my allergies really bother me today. It does it every time I cut grass, even wearing a mask, taking my medicine and stuff, but it's still a problem. So in here we have the new AVR board, and I'll take this out when we get ready to put it in. There's the new fan. Give us a couple of cables. This is double-sided tape, and we will not be using that. This is the track that holds the circuit board in. There's some couple of cables here for the fans and different clip-on connectors. And our new transformer that will be going in to replace the original transformer. Now this thing is a lot lighter, it runs a lot cooler. Okay, I've already removed all the screws out of the top of the cover and on the sides, so we'll go ahead and lift the top cover off. Set that aside, and the area that we're going to be working in is over here. Now just about all this wiring that's in here will all be coming out. There's some wires here that go up to the front. These go to the front panel switch. We're going to try to leave most of those intact. Go ahead and cut this tie wrap here. And that will unplug from the board. Now the wires that are going to the power transformer, we'll have to cut those loose. We can go ahead and disconnect all wires going to the PA. We'll just set them aside. And there's several wires that go to the AVR board that goes into the radio that we'll be using. There's a ground wire here. We'll leave that one intact. There's a wire here that's never used that I've seen, so we'll just hang it off the back. There's a big long header cable here that has to come loose. And a couple of the plugs here that need to be unplugged. Alright, the rest of that goes to the transformer. I'm going to go ahead and loosen up all the screws on the ABR board. Like I say, we're going to try to take this out mostly intact. And since this is a working radio and working power supply, I see no need to destroy it. And we got screws falling out everywhere. And that should leave the wires here going to our radio. We'll go ahead and remove the cover from the fan. Got all that unhooked. Alright, there's a choke down here. We're just going to remove the screws from it. Now keep up with your screws. Don't let them fall through the holes in the chassis. But if you do, you'll have to remove the circuit board to get down there to them. Because what they'll do, they'll fall right on top of the circuit board that's underneath. Alright, we got screws in our transformer. There's usually 4 on each side. There's only 3 on this side. And there's 4 across the edge here. Now we're going to actually, that one's stripped out, doesn't turn. But we're going to actually bolt the new transformer. We're going to make a plate that it bolts to, and then it's going to bolt back inside the radio. And the reason I like doing that is that I have seen so much stuff damaged from shipping with parts that's come loose in the radio. And these radios are already heavy like they are. Okay, so let's got that work loose. So back here in the back, you can see this housing here that holds 2 capacitors. That's 4 screws holding it in. We'll go ahead and remove that too. Okay, I'm going to get up all these screws before any of them fall in. Okay, now that this is out of the way, you can see we got our blue wire and our black wire that goes up to the switch. We're just going to go ahead and remove this piece of tape. Then we can follow this wire back here to the back. And then this blue wire here, we're just going to cut it from the transformer. We'll follow this black wire on back. And they've done it a little different. Instead of tying it here, they've run it through the chassis. So this one can stay like it is, but there's a tie wrap here we'll have to cut. We'll need to take this capacitor banker loose here. There's it's soldered to a stud, and you can just clip that off. Okay, maybe you can see it better there. You can see where these are on this stud right here. Just clip that right off because we don't need that anymore. And now our capacitor bank will come out of the way. And the only thing left is these two black wires going to this other stud. And sometimes you can click them off. Depends on how good a pair of darts you got, but you may need to unsolder them. But all this needs to come off and get out of the way. So as you can see, the only thing that's holding this in place is the voltage selector switch. So we'll go back in, we'll remove these two screws. We'll have to cut the wires off the switch, but we'll leave enough on there so we can solder them onto another switch if we were to put this back in another TS-940. So as you can see here on the back of the radio, there's the voltage selector switch to change it from 120 to 220. I done removed one of the screws. I'll just remove the other one. We will not be using this again because the new transformer accepts any voltage going through it. So that's our switch. And you see this brown wire goes to the fuse. So this is your other wire for power. That and that black wire that's going through here. Like I say, a lot of times that's connected up. So we definitely need to just go ahead and clip the brown wire off. And now we can go ahead and cut these wires. But that will not be used. And all these will pull right back through the chassis. And there we go. Our original power supply is now removed from the so there you go. As you can see, our original power supply is all intact and is removed from the radio. Okay guys, to now go ahead and start assembly. We got this clip that holds the new AVR board, and it just slips down in here and locks in place. I haven't clipped it all the way because we got to mount this. So what I did, I noticed a lot of times people glue this in place, but there's already some screw holes down here. So I just cut this back and drilled a hole in there, so this will set in here, and using the screws that taken out of various places, we're just going to simply screw this little tray down. Now again, if you want to glue this down, go right ahead. That's your choice. This is just the way that I decided I want to do it. Okay, so on the AVR board, you've got these header pins, and they have like P10, P4, P8, but they are also marked by wear color. So if you take your connectors, you can use the wearing color to plug these in so you know that it's right. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And when you get them all plugged in, this is what it'll look like. You can see we have a white orange and a white yellow. The board says white orange white, but it has a white yellow. Red black, orange black. Same with rest of connectors, and they just plug right in. So now we can pull these other wires right up out of the way. Take a board, and you want to slide the board all the way towards the antenna tuner, and then pop it in place. And there we have it. So you can see I made this plate, and you see that slides right here where the old transformer used to be, and it'll bolt in the side, and then you'll have one bolt over here, and you see there's 4 holes here, and this will bolt to the bottom of the new transformer. So I've got the 4 bolts removed from the transformer, and this plate will sit right over those holes and bolt down. Okay, with the bracket mounted on the bottom of the transformer can be just set right there and bolted down. But before we do that, we'll need to go ahead and take care of the power wiring for the AC, so we can get AC to the transformer. Alright, we're looking underneath the bottom of the radio at the ICE cable for the mains input, and you can see this black wire runs up to the switch. It's connected. This is the neutral, you got ground, and this is line. Line goes to the fuse and then back out this brown wire that we pushed up through the hole. And what we want to do is remove this black wire. We're just going to cut that right off and take it out. Now we got 2 wires up here that comes from our switch, this big black wire and this blue wire. And what we want to do is switch the line side, not the neutral. I'm going to run a new wire from here on this neutral terminal back up through the hole to go to the power supply, and probably be a white wire. Okay, so we got this black wire and this blue wire coming from the switch. I'm going to replace this with a piece of black wire, Teflon coated, and this wire, instead of connecting it to the brown wire, it's long enough I can run it down, run it through this hole, and connect it to the end of the fuse, and we'll have plenty of room here to run that. And then we'll run a new black wire that'll come around, and that will go to our line input on our new transformer. Already got the white wire ran. It's also Teflon coated wire, and that will go to the neutral input of the new transformer. Okay, you can see I went ahead and tie wrap these wires. The switch wires run off behind here and go over to the switch, and the other wires will tie wrap together, and one of them goes straight down through this hole where this is where. Now this goes to our, let me go ahead and cut this loose. Yeah, these 2 will go to the AC input on the transformer. And I ran the black wire down here, so what I'm going to do is remove this brown wire and we'll connect this black wire to the fuse. So the reason I did this, I always like to try to keep things color coded the way they're meant to be. Okay, I got the AC mains plugged in. I'll turn the AC on. We got a voltmeter connected to the wires, and there's our voltmeter there, and I'll turn the switch on the radio, and there's our power. So here on our transformer you can see our AC input. We got line, neutral, and ground. Then over here we have 3 grounds and 2 outputs for the DC. Now I just got a short piece of green wire with a ring terminal on the end of it, and we're going to put this right in here where it says ground, so we can ground the supply. Now this is a floating supply. This is a floating supply. That means that this output is not connected to any ground whatsoever. So what we're going to do, we're going to run a jumper wire from this DC output negative over to this ground also. Okay, we'll use this first negative terminal with our jumper. Then we'll loosen this one back up. And we can put both of these right in there. Well, now we'll just ground this to the chassis when we put it in. So our white wire is going to go to the center terminal, and our black wire will go to the outer terminal, which is line. So once we mount our power supply, we'll take this green wire, swing around, and put in one of these holes. This is also the same hole that holds the power supply in. Okay guys, I got the AC mains hooked up. I got our voltmeter connected to the output, and we want to adjust this for about 28.5 volts. And we're going to turn it on. See our green light come on, and if we look over at our voltmeter, which I don't think y'all can see it because of the glare, see it's sitting at about 23 volts. It's 24, 25, 26, 27. That's 28, and we'll put it about 28.5. That way when the load's on it, it'll drop down a little bit. Alright, 28.5 volts. So then our kit, they give us a couple of lengths of cable here, and we got to go from positive and negative out to these 2 spade terminals down here on the AVR board, and that'll put our DC input into the board. So I'll go ahead and strip back a little bit of the insulation off of this. And I like to solder these wires. It seems to hold up a little bit, gives the little more contact surface to the wire, so I'll go ahead and tin those. Okay, I got the two DC out wires put in, so all I got to do now is mount the transformer and connect up these. I'll cut it off so it won't be so long, and then they'll be plugged right into these two spade lugs here on our new AVR board. Okay guys, transformer's mounted, everything's hooked up. See, I got the wires ran right through this fin, kind of tie wrapped. We'll come on around the back, tie wrap the wires to the back of this shield, and the rest of them are just off in the corner and over here on this side. And you can see our red and black wire that goes to the new AVR board. I kept it short so there wouldn't be so much wire sticking down. Okay, then we'll go ahead and we'll power up the radio. You see there's 4 LEDs in here, 28 volt, 12 volt, 9 volt, and 5 volt LEDs. So we'll turn the power switch on, and you can see all 4 LEDs are lit. Kind of bright, hard to see, but all 4 of them are lit, and you can hear the radio is on. So now we got to get the fans working. Here it is. We've got this new fan that's going to mount back here, and they sent us a connector here. There's 2 reds, 2 blacks, and these plug right into the board right here. You can see that little header connector there. That is for the fans to plug in. One of them will go to the fan in the PA, and the other one will go to this fan. Okay, I removed this plate from this cover here, and I took our fan and lined it up there and punched 2 holes in it. So all we got to do now is just put in a couple of screws. On a flat washer. These lock washers, yeah, they fit. Thought they might have been too small. Do the same on the other one. Now if you wanted to, you could glue the fan in place, but you know, that's not the way I like to do it. And we'll just tighten those up. This is also a good time to clean out the inside of these fan cages, where they accumulate a lot of dust. All we got to do now is just slide this back in and put our screws back in place. So if you see, the fan has this connector on it, and you know our radio's just got 2 wires coming off of it. To fix that, we're going to use some header pins. I'm just going to cut them, solder the wires on, put some heat shrink on them, and that will plug right into that connector. So I cut the header and just soldered the 2 wires to the short end of it, and now I got heat shrink I can slide up over it. Okay, so that makes up our connection, so we can just plug it right in, no problems. Okay, let's look at it with the cover back reinstalled, and we'll go ahead and test the fan in just a second, make sure it works. I want to go ahead and tie wrap all these wires in here. Okay, let's see if this fan does what it's supposed to. See if I can zoom in there on it for you. It's going to be a little hard to see. Get a little more light down there. Oh yeah, it's turning. And it's blowing air right through the power supply. Alright, so we got one more modification to make. If you see, we got another set of fan wires, and what this does is going to run the fan in the PA compartment. Now this fan comes back and it's plugged into the PA board and runs off a thermistor. This way, when you hook it to this fan will run continuously at 9 volts. Instead of whatever voltage they're running it at, it'll run fine at 9 volts. In fact, it'll make it last longer, and it'll always be cooling the power supply, and it'll always be cooling the PA board. Even when you unkey the mic, it'll keep cooling that board. So since I had the top cover off, I went ahead and removed the 2 screws and laid the PA flat down, and I'm only doing this just for showing y'all what it is. And this is also a good time to go ahead and clean any of this, because you know this thing's been moving a lot of dust, and there's a lot of dust gets caked around in here, so it's a good time now to go ahead and clean everything. But I want to show you, remove this cover here. You don't have to do this. You'll see this blue wire, and it's plugged into the board right here, and just simply unplug that, and then you can pull it out. And when you do that, this is what you're going to connect back into. So I'll go ahead and put all this back together, but that's all we need for this blue wire. I just wanted to show you more about it as we're working on it. And we're going to use this header strip to tie in here to plug it in this connector, just like we did on the power supply fan. So nothing really amazing going on there. Okay, I got the connector on, I have it plugged in. I'm going to just drop it right down in here. That should be fine, out of the way. And there's our fan. I'm going to turn it on. There you go, fan is running. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on. Okay, there you go guys, nice little clean install. Everything just fits in there nicely. A lot less wiring within there. You can see there's even a big gap back here behind the transformer. And I try to space, I seen the other ones put them in, they bring it all the way up to the front. I try to pull it back and space it off just in front of this bracket. Gives you a good chase for that switch wires to run through without this being jammed all the way up there to the speaker and VCO unit. Alright guys, so you can see there's quite a bit of stuff left over that came out of this unit. The black passive transformer, choke, heatsink, AVR board. Now, there is a bracket that's mounted right here that you'll need to take that bracket off. And the reason why you'll need that bracket is this left back screw does not screw into nothing. So I just put that bracket on there and tighten down on it. Now when you go to take the cover off, you can just leave that on there and that bracket will stay on there. It's just a small bracket and it's not connected to anything. You could build a bracket around there and put back there to hold it, but it's not needed. So one of the other problems you can see, I'm feeding a signal at minus 67 dBm into the receiver, and we're barely right at S7. So that's the other problem I'll be tackling on and be doing on Patreon, if you'd like to see that. To my Patreon viewers, that'll be coming up. And it has to do with the PA board. The PA board that was in this thing was smoked and it was replaced, and it's still not working correctly, so we'll be working on that. Anyway guys, I hope this little tutorial was helpful to you. It's not hard at all to do, and it probably wouldn't take you but a couple hours to do it. Sitting here with the camera and walking around the camera and moving everything around and this and that drags it out quite a bit. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Let me hear your comments down below. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.